Hi, in this particular session, we are going to discuss one of the question of linked list. This is a very interesting and common question of linked list for interviews. And what happens is that in this, again, in case you are clear with the basic understanding of the linked list and you have a bit of logical thinking capability, you can solve this problem easily. And as I said, the prerequisite is that you should be comfortable with linked list, changing the links in linked list, and you should be comfortable with thinking and trying to jot down the logic. Okay, so let's first try to understand the question. We'll first try and understand the question like we do. We'll then see the input output format, and then we'll see the examples or the test cases. Okay, so the question says you are given a singly linked list containing n numbers. Linked list is sorted in two parts. Okay, the first part and second part are sorted in increasing order independently. Okay, your task is to arrange the linked list in sorted manner. So basically I'll be given a linked list. It will be divided in two parts and the two parts will be sorted independently. My task is to arrange the linked list in sorted manner. So I have to somehow combine the two independently sorted linked list and make one particular linked list that is completely sorted. Okay, so the linked list is same only. We will see how to solve this problem. The agenda is that let's just try and see the example and try and understand this more. So here this is the linked list. I see that this particular part is sorted, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 is sorted, okay, and this is one part of the list. From here, this is one part of the list that's sorted and this is one part of the list that's sorted, okay. So now what happens is that this is my input, this particular part is sorted independently, this is sorted independently, and this is my output. So what happens in this output is that this complete list is sorted. So what we did was that we did something, we rearranged the particular list, and what we did was that we sorted the complete list. So this is what we have to do. We'll be given a list divided in two parts. The two parts are sorted independently. We have to somehow rearrange the list and make a completely sorted linked list. Okay, and one more twist is that we have to arrange the list in place. We do not have to use any extra space. So else if you see, this problem would have been comparatively simpler if we could have used some extra space. So whenever this kind of question comes in mind, what we can do is that we can use the merge process of merge sort. So in that also what we have is that we are given two sorted array, we have to combine them to make one sorted array. So the problem statement could have been similar, the approach could have been similar if we were allowed to use extra space, but we don't have to use extra space now. Let's see how we can do it. I'll say the approach still will remain very much similar, but there will be a small thing that we obviously will not be using any extra space, and we'll see how we will manage not using any extra space. Okay, so our task is to, you don't have to take any input, just complete the function rearrange list. We are given this particular function and this is head of the list. So basically at this particular case, let's say if this is the list, it will be having pointer to 3. Okay, input format, the first list of the input, the first line of the input contains an integer t denoting the number of test cases. For each test case, the first line of the input contains n denoting size of the linked list. The second contains n space separated positive integers denoting nodes of the list. Okay, we will see that. And then this is the output format. We simply have to return head pointer of the final linked list after arranging the list, after rearranging the list. So we don't have to print the list. Here as you can see, the return type is again a node pointer. So we simply have to return the head of the rearranged list. Let's just see the example. So here these are the constraints. We have t will be from value 1 to 10, n will have maximum value 10 to the power 5, and value of nodes will be maximum 10 to the power 3. Okay, and time limit is 1 second. Now the input is, this is my t, okay, and this is my n, and these are the elements of the list, and this is my output for this particular input, and this is another list size, and this is another 1 2 3 2 3. If we rearrange it, we get 1 2 2 3 3, and this is what is output here. So seeing the constraint and time limit, one thing we can try is that we can try solving this problem in O of n time so that we do not get TLE. Okay, let's just go ahead and first try and come up with the logic such that the logic gives me the result with a single traversal. I don't have to do any nested traversal or something like that. Let's just try and do that. And as I said that there is a constant over here that we have to keep in mind, that we don't have to use any extra space. So let's just go ahead and solve this particular problem. I'll highly suggest first try on your own, and then in case you're not able to do it, then you can come back and see the video. And I've already given you the hint that you have to think around the merge process of merge sort. Okay, so let's say I'm given a list 2 3, 8, 1, 4. Or let's say I'm given a list 3, 5, 8, 4. Or let's say there's another list 3, 5, 4, 6, 7. So let's say these three lists I have just taken three different kind of test cases, and the approach will remain the same. So what happens is that when we try to solve these kind of problems, we try and solve different test cases to try and come up with a logic. So this is first test case. Let's see what is happening over here. So first thing I need to know is that if I have to combine the two lists, as we know in case of merge sort, we have to know what are the two arrays, okay? So in this case, we have to know that what is the first list and what is the second list. So basically we have to know that where the first list is ending and where the second list is ending. So how we will get to know? So since we know that the first list is sorted independently, so at any point if we find that the next element is less than the previous element, which means what we have is that this is the place where the division is happening between a first sorted list and the second sorted list. So let's do something. Let's divide our list into two parts. So we are not using any extra space here. This was the same list. The only thing that I did was that after this I added a null, and after this there was already a null, okay? I did not copy these particular elements in some other list. There's the same list that's going on. Now as you can see, what I'll do is that at any point I'll try and find out that, so now what I'll do is that I can't use any extra space. So I'll try and put one of the list, I'll try merge one of the list into another list. Let's say I'm trying to do that in this particular list. I'll merge this list, let's call it L1, okay? I'll merge L2 into L1. So first thing what I'm going to do is that I'm going to check whether which of the two is smaller. So 1 is smaller, so I'll put 1 in front of 2, okay? So now my latest list looks something like this, okay? And this is having 4, right? So now I'll find the right place for 4. What is the right place for 4? Is it between 2 and 3? No. Is it between 3 and 8? Yes. This is the right place for 4. So what I'll do is that I'll simply put 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, null. Okay. So I got my final list. Okay. Now let's just see this particular thing. We have 3, 5, 8 and we have 4. So now what happens is that we compare these two. Who is smaller? 3 smaller. So I don't see any change has to be done. Now I see what is the right place for 4. So I see that 4 is greater than 3 but lesser than 5. So right place for 4 is in between 3 and 5. So I'll simply put 3, 4, 5, 8. There is nothing left, so I'll just let it be. Now let's come here. So here we have 3, 5, null, 4, 6, 7. So now what I do is that in this particular case again I check what is the right place for 4. So right place for 4 is in between 3 and 5 because 3 is smaller, 5 is greater. So I simply do 3, 4, 5, null. Okay, what is the next thing I do? I have to check for 6. Now for 6, is the right place between 3 and 4? There is no point of checking between 3 and 4 because 4 is anyways going from here, which means that this particular thing will lie somewhere after 4 only. So I check between 4 and 5. Is it right place? No, because both of them are smaller than 6. So now let's go ahead. So as you can see now that we have come to the end of this particular list, which means that all the elements remaining in this particular list is greater than all the elements that is there in the list. So we will simply, what we will do is that we will do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, null. Okay, so whatever was remaining, I kept it at the end. Okay, so now I'll just try and write down the situations I faced in solving these test cases. So now let's see the situations. So the first situation is that, so let's say we had two lists here, this one and this one. Now what we did was that we are just confirming that we will merge L2 into L1. So no matter what is the first value of L1 and L2, I'll just merge these two. So what I saw was that rather than keeping this constant that I will always merge L1, I'll always merge L2 into L1, which means L1 will be remaining and I'll try and find the right place for L2 elements in L1. What I'll do is that I'll see whichsoever is having the first element as smaller. Why? Because this will reduce one condition. So here in this case I have to check that whichsoever is smaller, I have to make that head, right? So I'll just, we can do that, definitely we can do that, but I'm just trying to make it simple, and what I'm doing is that whichsoever is having the smaller value, I'll keep that as main list. Let's call it main list in which we are doing the insertion, and then we'll make the other one a secondary list. So in this case, what is happening? This is the main list and this is the secondary list. In this case, this is the main list and this is the secondary list. So this is one thing I'll do, is that whichsoever is having first element is smaller, so that I don't have to bother about changing my head. Okay, so now whichsoever is having first element is smaller, that will be my main list. Okay, now the second thing is that, let's say this is my main list. Now I have to bother about putting the elements of secondary list in main list. So what is the situation? So I'll start from here. I have to find out that whether 2 is having the right place between 1 and 4 or not. So at any point, to decide the place that whether 2 is valid for getting in between 2 elements of main list, we have to see that this should be greater than this and it should be smaller than this. So what are the different places that is there for 2 here? Number 1, in between 2 nodes. Okay, this is one situation, that whether 2 is in between 2 nodes. If not, what is the other situation? The other situation is that 2 is greater than both of the nodes. Okay, 2 is greater than both of the nodes. So let's say in this particular situation, this is how it is. I think if list would have been something like that. Let's say we have 5, 7, 8, 1, 4, 6, 9. Okay, so in this case, what would happen is that if I see that 5 is lying in between 1 and 4, I'll simply put it here. But that is not the case. So what we'll do is that I'll go ahead. Now I'll check that whether 5 is lying between this or this. Okay, so what will happen is that if the number lies in between 2 nodes, we simply insert the number, and what we do is that we go to the next node. Okay, else if that does not happen, what we will do is that we will simply go to the next node in main list. Okay, so in this case, what will happen is that now I go to the next node. Now I'll check that whether 5 lies between 4 and 6. If the 5 lies between 4 and 6, yes, it does. So I'll simply put 5 here. Now what will happen is that now I'll just check that I'll go to the next node in list, main list as well as secondary list. So initially I was checking between these two. Now I'll check between these two. So now what is happening is that I see that we will see exactly, that how we are keeping the pointers. I'm just trying to give you an idea and see what are the different conditions. So in this case, what will happen is that we will simply go to the next node in secondary list, as well as we go to the next node in my primary list. Okay, so this is one situation. I see that this is how we can just keep on going ahead and we can keep on finding the right place. The other situation that comes up is that one of the list is empty. So now what happens is that, so let's say we keep on going ahead and the nodes in one of the lists just gets exhausted. So let's say if the nodes list gets exhausted in this particular list, let's say in secondary list, all nodes are exhausted, which means I started from here, which happens in this particular case, In this case, what we do is that we simply return my head of main list. Okay, right, because in this case, as soon as 4 goes here, there is nothing much to be done. Rest of the list is anyway sorted. Else what will happen is that if main list gets exhausted, or all the elements of main list gets exhausted, and there is something remaining in the secondary list, what we will do is that we will simply append remaining elements of secondary at the end of main list. Okay, so this is what I need to do. So I just want you to pause the video, try and solve the video on your own. Going ahead, so I just want you to pause the video, try and solve the question on your own. Now what we will do next is that we will see how to try and convert this into a kind of pseudo code, how we will track of the nodes. So in this case of linked list, this is the thing, how you change the links, how you keep track of the node. You have to ensure that you keep track of the nodes and you don't lose a track. So let's say if this is next, you have to ensure that before you change next of this, you keep track of this. So you have to just take care of these small things and you are done. So we will see how we will have the variables, how we will have the pointers to keep track of all the nodes, and how we will just keep on going ahead to the next, and then how we will check the conditions. We will see that next. Now let's just try and write the pseudocode. So let's say we have 3, 5, 6, 9, null. Okay, other thing we have, let's say, is 4, 8, null. Okay, so basically we had if you see what will be the input will be 3, 5, 6, 9, 4, 8, null. Okay, so this is how the input was. So in this first thing we have to do is that, let's say we have to have several variables. So we will have head 1, we will have head 2, okay, we will have cur 1, we will have cur 2, okay, and then we will have next 1 and next 2. So in this case, as you can see that 3 is the one that is having the smaller value than 4. As we saw a few seconds back, that we are going to do the insertion into the list which is having first value as the smallest. Okay, so let's say we will do that particular thing when we see the code. Let's say I have already done the checking. So I will first check that whichever is having the smallest value will be list 1, okay, and the other one will be list 2. Okay, so this we have to do in the rearranged list function. So there what we will do is that we will do this comparison, and then we will call other function, let's say merge function. In that we will pass list 1 and list 2, and whichever is having first element is smaller will be list 1 and the other one will be list 2. So here let's say I have already done that. Now I'm just bothering about the insertion. So this is head 1, head 2. Head 1, head 2 obviously is the head pointer to the first node of both the lists. Cur 1, cur 2 basically cur 2 will take care of the node that has to be inserted, and cur 1 we will see what is it doing. Basically it will also be around the current node of list 1. Then next one will be the next node of list 1, and next 2 will be the next node of list 2. Okay, so let's just go ahead. So let's say I have to insert 4. So what I'll do is that, so we will check if cur1 dot data. So we are using dot here. Obviously when we will write the actual code we will use the operator as per the language, but right now just focus on the pseudo code. If cur1 dot data is greater than, is less than, equal to cur2 dot data, basically this should be less than this, and cur next 1 dot data is greater than equal to cur2 dot data. So basically this is checking that this value should be either equal to this number or greater than this number, or less than this number or equal to this number. In either case it will fall in between. So if this happens, what we have to do is that we have to put 4 in between 3 and 5. So how we will do that? What are the operations that we have to do? We have to first change the next of 3 to 4, right? So what we will do is that cur1 dot next is equal to cur2. So as I said that before you make any change in the lists, in the links of a list, make sure you're not losing your pointer, or make sure you're not losing your access to any particular any particular node. In this case we are not losing access to 5 because we already have a next pointer that is pointing to 5. So now I have changed this. Now I have to change my next of 4. I have to do this particular thing, right? So what I'll do is that cur2 dot next is equal to next 1. Okay, so now this thing has happened. Now what I have to do is that I have to now just go ahead. I have done the insertion. My list looks something like this. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, null. Okay, now I have to bother about this particular node. Now what happens with this particular node is that obviously this particular node cannot go in between these two, because obviously it will be greater than this, but it can go in between these two. So what I have to do is that I have to change my variables accordingly so that I can check that where this particular node should, whether this particular node should go between in this two or not. Okay, so what I'll do is that now I'll update my cur and next. So my cur1 will become cur2, right? So this was my cur2 initially. Now this becomes my cur1. Okay, the next one will remain as it is. It was next one before also. And what will happen is that my cur2 will be next 2, okay, and my next 2 will be cur2 dot next. Okay, so this is what is the situation. Now again the same thing will happen. Now let's say what happens now is that now this 8 will be checked. So now we check the same condition, that whether 8 lies in between 4 and 5. No, I don't see 8 lying in between 4 and 5. So what we have to do is that it may happen that 8 will lie between 5 and 6. So I'll just have to update my cur1 and next one. So if this condition is not true, right, so let's say this is the thing, we'll have an else. Else what we will do is that we will simply update our cur1 to this particular point and update our next one to this particular point. Okay, this is what we will do. But before that there is a condition. Before we just go ahead, there might be a situation that we have something like 3, 4, 5 null and we have 8 null. So in this case what will happen is that if we try and update, what we will do is that right now my cur1 is this and this is my next one. Now what will happen is that my next one will become null and my cur1 will become this particular thing. But obviously since the list has exhausted over there, there is no point of checking any further. We can simply put whatsoever is remaining in list 2 after 5, right? So we have to do one thing. We have to have two situations over here. One situation is that if there is an element after 5, if basically next one dot next is not equal to null, okay, this is how it is. Basically there is an element after 5. In that case, which is this particular situation, what we will do is that we'll update our cur1 to next one, and our next one will become cur1 dot next. There won't be any change in cur2, okay. If this is not the situation, else what we will do is that we will simply put, this was my next one, this will be next one, okay, next one dot next is equal to cur2. So basically this is the situation. If this is my next one, and in this case since there is nothing after next one, it's null, I'll simply put next one dot next equal to this particular thing. So if there would have been more list after this, 8, 10 or something like that, it would have simply gone here. If that would not have been the case, what would happen, that this 5 will become my cur1 and this 6 will become my next one. Again what we will do the same calculation. We will check that if 8 goes on here, no, it doesn't goes on here. Again we will go ahead, this becomes my cur1, this becomes my next one, and then 8 goes on here. Okay, so now let's say 8 goes on here and one of my list has become null. Okay, so as soon as 8 goes on here, what will happen is that we'll update our cur1, we'll update our next one, we will update our cur1, right, we updated our cur1, we updated our cur2, and we also updated our next. So now this cur2 is a null right now. So now I need to stop. So I know one thing is that this particular thing will keep on going only till we have cur2 not equal to null. This is one situation. So now in case we come to a place where cur2 becomes null, there is no point of going forward. So this complete thing will keep on running in a loop only till we have, so we'll have a loop that while cur2 not equal to null. Okay, so at any point if cur2 becomes null, there is no point of going further. So this complete thing will keep on running only we have till cur2 not equal to null. So now this is how the code is. This is, make sure you run this code, you see if there is a corner case. We will do the same. There might be the case that if you try and run the code, we see that okay, this is case that is missing. So let's just try and see the complete code and see if this particular thing works fine. Okay, now let's just go ahead and try and see the code. Also, you know, when we were writing the pseudo code that we wrote before, we didn't had too much of null check and all. So when you're writing the code, make sure you have proper null checks, because else you will get runtime error. So anytime if you're writing code and you're using pointers and you're using nodes and all, make sure you have a proper null check. Else what will happen is that, let's say if there is a node that's null, okay, and you try and access an element of that particular node, so that will give you a runtime error, right? So we didn't do that. We will see how we are taking care of that in the actual code, okay? So first let's just try to understand this particular part. So here we have rearrange lists. So we were already given this function, and this list is nothing but a pointer to the first node of the list, okay? We generally call it head pointer, okay? So now the first thing we have to do is, let's say I'm given a list 1, 2, 3, 6 and 7. So the first thing we have to do is that we have to separate this list into 2 parts, okay? So as I said that we need to have a proper check. So we are having a check over here that if there is only one element in the list, then there is no point of doing the whole exercise. We simply return the list. So this is what we are checking, that list next is if that is equal to null, okay? We can also have a situation here that if list is in itself equal to null, then also you can return the list, okay? Now, but here the list won't be null. There will be at least one element in the list, because as you can see n will be from 1 to 10 to the power 5. So we know that there will be at least one element. Now this is what we are doing here. We are checking here that this PTR is pointing to the first node of the list in the beginning. Every time we are checking that if the next value is greater than or less than. If it is greater, then it is a sorted list, we will just go ahead. Eventually what will happen is that we will come here and the next of PTR1 will be greater than the value of this particular node, which means that this is where we need to do our breaking, okay? So what we do is that we will just put this particular next to null, and we should have someone pointing to this particular node. Okay, so what we do, as you can see here, is that we first have a temp where we are just, temp is pointing to this particular node. Okay, then we increment our ptr1, ptr starts pointing to the first node of the next list, and then we change the temp next to null. It is really important to have these things properly, else you will either get into runtime error or you will lose access to a particular node. Okay, so this is how we have divided them into two parts. Now what we are doing is that we are checking that if either of the list is empty, then we simply return the list which is non-empty. Okay, again there is no point of doing the whole exercise of merging. Now the second thing what we are doing is that we are checking that whichsoever of the two is having smaller value. So you saw that we checked that whichsoever is having the first value is the smaller value, we'll be doing the insertion in that particular list only. So that is what we are doing here. So we have a merge util function. In this merge util function, whichsoever is the parameter 1, we'll be inserting the next list to that particular parameter. So this is what we are doing, that if the list which is the first node is having value, the first node of first list is having value less than the next one, we will make list as the first list, basically the list in which the merging will happen, and else the other situation occurs. Okay, now let's go ahead and see the merge util. So this merge util is where we will implement the algorithm or the pseudocode that we saw in the previous slide. Okay, so this is my merge util function. So here we are checking that if first list has only one element, let's say it's just something like 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say if it has just one element, what we need to do is that we will simply append this particular list to the next of this particular element, and we will simply return this particular list. Okay, this is what we are doing. Why we are doing this, why we have to take care of this, the answer lies in here, because here what will happen is that if I don't take care of this, let's say somewhere I am trying to access the next pointer and we are trying to do something. So as you will go ahead, we will see that at any point, as we have seen that, we will see that whether I can put a certain element in between two elements or not. Okay, so here we will be using the next of this particular node. So since we have to make use of it, we have to ensure that the next exists. If next doesn't exist, which means there is only one element, simply append it and return it. Okay, now let's just go ahead. So now we have cur1, next one, cur2, next 2. So cur1 is initially pointing to the head, cur2 is initially pointing to this next head or the second head. Similarly, next one and next 2 are pointing to the next elements, which is the second elements. Okay, now we run a loop while cur2. We have seen why is this condition. This particular part is taking care of the fact that whether, let's say if I have this particular list 1, 4, null, and let's say we have 3, 5, 6, and let's say we have null. So basically this particular code is taking care of the part that if 3 lies in between 1 or 4, or basically if 3 is equal to 1 or 4. Even if, let's say, if there would have been 1 here, I would place this 1 here only, or if there would have been 4 here, I would place 4 in between 1 and 4 only. Okay, so in either case, if either it is you can see here is an equal to condition, greater than equal to, less than equal to. In either case, we will put 3 here. So now what we are doing to put 3 here, we are doing cur1 next equal to cur2. So now this comes here, cur2 next equal to next one, this goes here. Now what we have to do is that we have to update our cur1 and cur2. So now the cur1 becomes this particular node, this node comes here, this becomes my cur1. Okay, now what will be my cur2? My cur2 will be next 2. Initially my next 2 was pointing to this particular element. Okay, now this will be my next 2. Now let's say there would have been a situation where we would have just 1, 4, and we would have 3 and null. So let's say in that case, if we would have done simply like cur2 equal to next 2, in that case what would happen is that this will be, my cur2 would become null here at this particular place. Considering this is my list, cur2 will have become null, and here what we are trying to do is that we are trying to do next 2 equal to cur2 next. But since this is null, what would happen is that we would get a runtime exception. So as you can see, there is a runtime error here in the bottom because I was testing that particular thing. Okay, so that is why I'm taking this runtime error again and again, because a very common question comes up. So that is why it is really important that we put a check before using cur2, that cur2 should not be equal to null. If this is not equal to null, then we will simply go ahead and put next to equal to cur2 next. Okay, this is how the insertion in between care of. If you would have seen, we didn't take care of this particular part when we are writing the pseudocode, because as I said that we were just writing the code over there. Now after we wrote this code, when we try to write the code with proper syntax, we try and see all these conditions where the null pointer can come. Okay, now going ahead, what we do is that we check that if there is a next element that exists in list 1. If yes, we simply update our next one to next one next. We update our cur1 to cur1 next. Okay. Else what we simply do is that if this is not the situation is that we have come to the end of the list 1 and we have elements remaining in list 2, we will simply append all our elements of list 2 at the end of list 1. So this is what we do here, and we simply return the head over here. We simply return head from here. Else what we do is that, let's say we keep on doing these particular operations. After we come out of this particular loop, we return head from this particular place. Basically this is the head of the merge list. Now let's just submit this code and see if we are getting right answer. So as you can see, the code got accepted. So make sure you try and run this code on your own. You first run it in your local compiler and then you can just come here and run it completely. And in order to solve this problem, you should be clear with the basics of linked list. If you're clear with the basics of linked list, this question won't be that difficult for you.